Okay, now let's make the fretboard. The first thing you do is cut out a blank for it, and just like that. Now what I'm going to do is cut the slots. We're going to drill holes to locate it, and we're going to pin it down to the top. Okay, to cut the fret slots, I've made this this jig here. I've got it set up for both 13.5 inch scale and 15-inch scale, so I can do both concerts and sopranos in the same jig. All my fretboards start out the same width. They're 1 3/4 inches, and so it fits in here perfectly. So all I got to do, and this saw incidentally, I got this at Harbor Freight. I think it was $8 or $9. It is a Top Man brand flush cut saw. It has no set, and the blade is 23 thousandths of an inch thick, which is what they recommend for the fret width. It's also nice and it's flat all the way across, so you can do it. And what I found also, it's kind of handy, the depth of the teeth is about exactly what the depth of the slot should be. So all I got to do when I cut is watch the teeth, and when they're all the way in, the slot's done. There's that. Now I just move it up, and I've got the slot or the fret locations marked on here, and I'll just slide this thing up until it's on the next one. Hold it in. Slide it up to the next one. And so on. I'm going to get very, very accurate fret locations. A few thousandths of an inch out can make a difference. What I would recommend doing if you do make a jig like this is before cutting up a nice board, do it on a piece of scrap first, and then take the finished piece and measure it very carefully, comparing it to the dimensions that you're working with, and make sure you've got it just right on. And if it's off, then adjust the mark on your board so that you don't do it that way. Okay, that's all the slots cut. Now what I'm going to do, I've also got this thing set up so that I have little dots on here on the sides telling me where the position dots go. And so what I do is I just put it in here and put a spot of tape between the frets where the dots go. Yeah, that's that. Another thing my little fretboard jig here does is I use it as a jig in the drill press for drilling the holes. So I'll put that in there and show you how to do that. Okay, now I'm going to locate the fretboard on the neck. And what I do is place it on, feel at the end here where the top panel stops. That's flush with the end of the fretboard. So I just feel that. Get those lined up right. And feel the edges here. Get that lined up right. It feels good. I'm just going to hold this down and drill through the last position dot into the neck. I'll take a little plastic pin, 1/8" diameter rod, stick it in there, and that holds this thing in place for me. Now, I'll take a straight edge. Before drilling this hole in the upper dot hole, I just put the pin in there so that the thing can pivot like this. Then I put a straight edge along those two pins, and I make sure that the center line of the neck lines up with the center line of the back or the top panel, minus the width of the peg, of course. And that looks about right. Up there. Okay. I'm holding this so it doesn't move. Pull this out. Drill that hole. Put the pin back in. Now my fretboard is held on tightly. I can turn it over and mark on it where it needs to be cut to match the taper of the neck. And that's that. And pull these out. I'm going to go over to the bandsaw, cut this out, finish it up on the sander. Okay, I've shaped the fretboard, cut the taper on it, held it on the neck, looking down through the holes, feel along the edges, get it so it's even with that. It needs to be sanded some, just put it up on the edge. Sand. And that feels about right. That looks good. It's nice and even all the way across. Okay, the fretboard's ready to go, ready to receive frets. I'm going to set it aside. So now I'm going to make the bridge and locate it on the top of the body.